Sidrat Al-Muntaha, or the Lote tree, is mentioned in the Quran as the tree at the highest point in heaven, beneath God's throne. It is the boundary where human knowledge ends and the divine begins. Today, we'll explore what the Lote tree could be in this mortal world, what the tree from the Quran symbolises, and we'll make a cake from this fruit of paradise. It is mentioned in just 6 verses in Surah Najm, where the Prophet ascends to heaven and meets God. And he certainly saw that angel descend a second time, at the Lote tree of the most extreme limit in the 7th heaven, near which is the garden of eternal residence, while the Lote tree was overwhelmed with heavenly splendours. This Lote tree that is being referred to in Arabic is known as Sidrat Al-Muntaha, or the Sidr tree of the furthest boundary. There is a lot of dialogue around what this tree is, what it represents, and the rest of the story relating to the Prophet's ascension to the 7th heaven. In Arabic, the Sidr is known as either the Lote tree or the cedar tree. We're going to go with the general definition of the Lote tree because of its fruit-bearing properties, which we're going to be using in the video, but it should be noted that it could be either or. So the Lote tree, or Ziziphus spina Christi, is a thorny tree that produces the Jujube fruit. It is also said to be the same tree that Christ's thorny crown was made of, from the story of his crucifixion. The symbolism of a tree during the ascension of the Prophet from earth to the boundary of human knowledge in heaven can be compared to the axis mundi, a tree, mountain, or pillar that connects the underworld, our world, and heaven. A similar concept is present in Hermeticism, as above, so below, connected through the axis mundi. Importantly, the tree or fruit itself might not be the most important part of the story, but rather what the tree represents. This idea of ascension then refers to both what might happen as an external journey, like climbing a mountain, as well as the internal journey of overcoming our obstacles, our own thoughts and emotions, and reaching higher levels of understanding, although the Lote tree represents the limit of this mortal understanding. You can even think about this from a scientific perspective of how the human spine is the axis mundi, as we are the only true bipedal animals on Earth. Birds are also bipedal, but they don't have a vertical axis like humans do. Without delving too deep into this topic, I wanted to know what this Jujube fruit tasted like, and I was inspired to make a cake using some of the fruits mentioned that are present in paradise. I couldn't get hold of Ziziphus spina Christi, but I did find some Ziziphus mauritiana, or Indian jujube. It tastes somewhat like an apple and a pear mixed together, slightly sweet and tart. The other fruits mentioned in the Quran to be in paradise are pomegranates, grapes, bananas, figs, olives, and of course dates. So to make the cake, I have enlisted the help of my nephew, and we started by making a jujube jam that we're going to put into the cake. We start by cleaning and chopping up the jujube.
Tastes like apple. I love it.
And then we weigh this. This ended up being 300 grams for us. We used 1/3 of this weight and added golden caster sugar and dark brown sugar. We're going to add this to a pot with a little bit of boiling water to make sure the jujube doesn't stick to the pan. And we also add the juice of half a lemon to make sure that pectin is formed, which is what sets a jam. Make sure to boil the jar you're going to store the jam in for about 10 minutes. After about 40 minutes, when the jam becomes thick, you can then take it off the heat. Then to make the cake, we take 237 grams of honey and 118 grams of butter, and we heat this until soft. We're then going to crack 2 eggs into a large bowl and whisk until frothy. Mix together the honey and butter until it's homogeneous, and then you're going to add this to the egg mixture, but make sure that the honey and butter isn't too hot, otherwise it will scramble the eggs. Warm 119 milliliters of milk and add a teaspoon of apple cider or white vinegar to make a faux buttermilk. Whisk this into the rest of the liquid mixture and then add 313 grams of all-purpose flour and 1 heaped teaspoon of baking powder. Butter the inside of a large bundt pan. Of course, taste test some of the jam. And then add half the cake batter to the bottom of the pan, a layer of jam, and the rest of the cake batter on top. Make sure there are no bits of jam showing.
There's a little bit here that I can see.
Bake this at 180 degrees Celsius for 20 to 30 minutes and leave it to cool upside down. For the decoration, we're going to use some pomegranate, 2 figs, a handful of grapes, and then we're going to make a simple icing from a few teaspoons of icing sugar, about a tablespoon of pomegranate molasses, and the juice of half a lemon. We're going to drizzle this over the cake and decorate it with our fruits before dusting with some powdered sugar. Here's what our beautiful cake made from the fruits of paradise looks like. Now let's give it a taste test.
I hope it tastes good.
I hope so too. One slice. You're gonna try the first bite, yeah?
Okay. One time.
Oh, I can taste the honey. I really like the cake.
I really like the
I can taste the honey in it.
I can also.
Can you taste the jam?
Yeah.
I can taste a little bit of the tartness from the jam.
I can taste a little bit.
That's really good. Robin and I recommend making this, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you everyone for watching.
Yeah, thank you.